here in Beloit, and I want to welcome everyone to Russ Rucker's campaign. The 45th district encompasses Beloit, of course, and it goes from basically Curry Avenue west to include Broadhead, and then on the south from the state line up to Evansville includes Evansville, the city up there. So that's the jurisdiction he'll be running for. I've known Russ for many years, and I just commend him for his conservative values. Some say he was born a conservative. Now, I can't vouch for that, but personally now I'm a recovering liberal. So Russ keeps me in line, and every so often he tells me that he thinks I just want to go and hug a tree or something. So yeah, I appreciate his keeping me on the straight and narrow. But I commend him for his passion and his thoughtfulness on issues and his high ethical standards. And he works hard. He works hard, and I know he'll work very hard for the people of the district, you and I, and we can count on that. I'd like to now introduce Bill Soderman, who will introduce Russ. Bill's been a long time public servant in Rock County, and is currently serves as the chairman of the Janesville School District Board, and he has, at last count, 7 beautiful flowers of children, and much to be proud of, 4 in college, I think. In any case, he came down because he's a friend of Russ and a friend of mine, and we appreciate that. And I'd just like to introduce Bill. Bill, come on up.
When I was serving as Rock County Chair back in the 90s, I got a phone call from some guy with a deep voice. He said, I want to be on the party, I want to be involved, I want to be a delegate. And that was Russ Rucker. And so when I talk about grassroots, people who actually done it, who have put up the signs, even painted the signs, and has out there worked hard for the party. And our party is not made up of, quote, wealthy people. It's made up of small business owners like myself, people who work hard in the trades. That's the foundation of our values. And Russ shares his values with me. And as a fellow local official, Russ serves the Orfordville Board trustee. He understands that decisions are made closest to the people, the best decisions that are made versus ones from Madison or from Washington. And so we need to have the power locally. And that's truthful now in Wisconsin with the changes made. We've gone from a $3 billion some deficit to now a projected surplus of $154 million for the time the next budget year ends next year. So those kind of common sense changes, and Russ had experience as a painter, and just doing those common tasks and getting out there and knowing what it takes, what we need for our district. And so I look forward to working with Russ and to continue on this progress we're making in Wisconsin. And for Russ, my advice after having run myself and lost, you stay true to yourself, which I know you will. You wake up after election day, you'll know that whatever happens, you kept your values. If you do that, you'll be a winner no matter what happens. So, Russ, go get him.
Thank you, Bill. I'd like to thank Don and Bill for talking for me. Now, I'm here to announce that I'm the 45th District Assembly candidate. I'm married for 12 years. My beautiful wife, Lena. I have 2 wonderful boys, 11 and 3. I moved into what's now the district in '95. I lived in Evansville, and then I moved down to Orfordville. And I really like both them communities. I love the Evansville fireworks celebration. 4th of July just can't be beat. And June days down Orfordville is wonderful. It's really a wonderful district throughout the whole area. I ran for the village board a couple of years ago, and I was re-elected a month or so ago, and I decided that I really should run for higher office to take some of what I learned with me. And one of the first things I did on the board was I tried to make sure that we weren't wasting money and we were holding down spending. And me and one of the other trustees let it known that we weren't going to accept a tax increase. And one of the other trustees said, "You mean over 3%? And I said, "No, I mean over 0. I'm not going to tolerate a tax increase this year." And so that is kind of what stopped progressive tax increases from year to year. But it's not just about, you know, not having a tax increase. And if you don't want a tax increase, you got to stop spending. So you got to vote no on spending issues. So I voted no on things like reimbursement of cell phone use for employees and inspections of some private businesses that they wanted to do. And, you know, you just have to stop spending where you can. And I voted no on the sewage treatment plant because I thought it was too expensive for 400 homes at this time. I thought we should fix what needed fixing.
Yeah.
I have the most conservative record on the board for spending. You know, I have the political will to say no.
Amen.
And I have said no to people when it became necessary. And there are things I voted for too. You know, like I've been instrumental in trying to get the the tennis courts fixed, although it hasn't come to a conclusion yet. And there are other things that I supported, because you have to spend money on some things. You just can't spend it on everything. I started work when I was young. My father was a painting contractor, and he taught me the value of hard work. I remember being on vacation with him, and while us 3 kids ran off swimming and hiking, my dad sat there at the picnic table with a blueprint out, bidding jobs. When we went to work, we left the house at 6 o'clock and we didn't start till 8. We loaded up the truck, we got things ready, and we just went to work. And that's what we did, and that's what I still do. I'm still always early. I'm still always working hard for whatever it is I'm doing. But, you know, things were pretty good as a kid until we hit the twin recessions of 79 and 81, which drove my father out of business. And it's much like the hard times we have right now. You know, I mean, it's really rough. You know, the last few years just seem to get worse and worse. I spent a lot of time unemployed. I spent a lot of time underemployed. I personally know a lot of people that are really hurting, including myself, and I know how hard it is to pay a bill when you don't have a job. The banking reform last year, or maybe it was 2 years ago, tightened up spending, tightened up credit, so you can't even hardly borrow money to buy a house or a car unless you got darn near an 800 credit rating. I really feel that we have to do something to work to get banks borrowing again. I remember a few years ago, the Libertarian Party was pushing an A to Z bill. And the whole idea was that they were going to force a vote on every bill. You know, all the pork barrel spending, every program. And I think we really need to do something like reviewing all these programs. You know, the ones that aren't working and aren't doing their job need to be eliminated, and we need to try other programs that might actually succeed. My top priority is getting people back to work any way possible. I don't care who gets the credit. I just want this economy to move again so we can all be working. Now, education is important to me, I spend a lot of time with my son working on homework, studying. You know, it's really a partnership between the parents, the teachers, the school board, you know, everybody. And I feel we need to get rid of these curriculum mandates that we have, enforcing teaching on certain subjects. Not because they aren't worth it, because any idea, something new is fine, but it takes away from your core curriculum. And when you're taking away from core curriculum, you aren't spending all the time that's needed teaching, you know, your math and your English and history and all the things that really are necessary. You know, and we have a lot of kids that are in private school, and they aren't even involved in public education. And we need to help these parents too. The money needs to follow the kids, or at least, like in Illinois, where you're allowed to deduct the amount of money that you're spending. I mean, it's hard enough making it and then having to pay bills for your children's education. And I know a lot of people say, well, that's rich kids. You know, well, it's not rich kids. You know, a lot of it is parents that are just religious and want their children in a Christian school. You know, I really believe I could do a good job in Madison for the 45th. I mean, I'm just the common guy with common sense. Thanks for coming out, and God bless this great state.
There you go.